Welcome to another episode of the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. I'm your host, Michael. Joining me again this week is my regular co-host, Kent, and we got some special guests joining us live from Taiwan, Sean. Also live from the UK. I've been on his show before. I want to welcome him. His first appearance here on the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. Boxing Beats and Rhyme. How y'all fellas doing?
I'm good.
Good.
For those who are new to the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, the Pound for Pound Boxing Report is a live YouTube show /podcast/blog that discusses all things boxing. The motto is, when boxing is good, we will talk about it. When boxing is bad, we will talk about it. The bottom line is, if it concerns boxing, we will talk about it. If you want to find information about the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, there are two main places you should go. You should go to the Pound for Pound Boxing Report blog page, nominated for a 2014 Black Web Blog Award, by the way. We're in the finals for that. The voting began the 21st and it ends the 28th of this month. So please go to blackwebblogawards.com and cast a vote for the Pound for Pound Boxing Report blog page for the category Best Sports Blog. You can go to the blog page if you want to find information about the show. You can also, the link for that is p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com, and repeat that, p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com. On the blog page, you will find past episodes of the Pound for Pound Boxing Report podcast, as well as blogs written by yours truly. You can also go to the podcast page. The link for that is p4pboxingreport.podomag.com, and repeat that, p4pboxingreport.podomag.com, where you can find past episodes of the Pound for Pound Boxing Report podcast page on both the blog page and the podcast page. We will provide links to where to find all things Pound for Pound Boxing Report all over social media, all over the internet, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Google+, on Twitter, Podomatic. We got a Tumblr page. We got a Pinterest board, the RSS feed, which you can donate your account. We're on Stitcher Radio. Just go to StitcherRadio.com. Just do a search for Pound for Pound Boxing Report. That's POUND, the number 4, POUND, Boxing Report. Check us out there. And please make sure to leave a review, write a review, leave some comments there what you think about the show. We also have a link where you can donate on the blog page and the podcast page where you can donate your account. The link for that is donateyouraccount.com/P4P Boxing Report. And what happens is, first of all, be a friend, be a pal, be a buddy. Donate your Twitter account. And what happens is, anytime you donate your Twitter account, any tweet that comes from the Pound for Pound Boxing Report Twitter page, and the handle for that is @P4P Boxing Report. Any tweet that comes from the Pound for Pound Boxing Report Twitter page, your Twitter account would automatically retweet any tweet that comes from the Pound for Pound Boxing Report Twitter page. With those matters out the way, let's do a recap of what went down this weekend. Headline, of course, was a doubleheader on HBO in Carson, California. Very good doubleheader, and I'll go to you on this one, BC, since you're our guest, and since you have to leave early. The headline of that HBO doubleheader in Carson, California was, of course, Gennady Golovkin defending his WBA middleweight belt against Marco Antonio Rubio. Last week, like a fool, I thought that Rubio would actually take Gennady Golovkin some rounds. I thought his size and his height and his length would give Golovkin some trouble, particularly early on, but that didn't prove to be the case. Rubio, who came in a pound and three quarters weight overweight, losing $100,000 of his purse, by the way. Golovkin, he got started early, began to land shots early. In round 1, Golovkin put him down early in round 2 via a left hook on top of the head. Rubio was strange to me. He went down, stayed down. It seemed to was pondering whether to get up, and by the time he got up, he didn't beat the count. I'll go to you on this one, Beats. Your assessments of the fight and your assessments of Triple G. Afterwards, they're talking about him. Triple G says he wants a big fight in 2015, most notably Miguel Cotto. They're also talking about a Fraj, maybe a Quillen, a Ward, and others. Your assessments of the fight and your thoughts on Gennady Golovkin.
Well, I predicted that he was going to blow the guy out early. You know, I mean, it's kind of like nobody looked at Rubio's stats. He was KO'd 3 times before this fight. He was KO'd 3 times. He wasn't exactly improving. And like people talk about the interim stats, but it doesn't really mean that much, you know, unless you can actually quantify it by he really took on some really good. Like, okay, the David the Moon win was okay. That was decent. But the way I stand with Triple G, I think he's one of the hardest punching fighters I've actually ever seen. The problem is that his supporters, they're thinking, okay, because they think he's the best, that they can just automatically, just say, well, that's enough. He doesn't need to tie up belts. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to do anything. I just have to be happy that he can punch her. No, you've got to go out there and fight the fights and win the belts. Now, this is ridiculous. Boxing is not a theoretical process. You have to go out there and do it. And I don't see why his fans don't accept that. If you say anything against that, you're a hater. They've accused me of being racist just for bringing that up. It's the most ridiculous situation I've seen. And all this stuff that, he started in his 20s. And look, if you hold a belt, once you hold a belt, you will be held to the standards of world championship boxing. There's no apprenticeship world championship boxing. If you're going to go in there and hold a belt, we're going to hold you to the standards of Harry Greb, Hagler, Carlos Monzon, and all them guys, and justifiably so. Or give the belt up and go do your apprenticeship separately somewhere else. But apart from that, I think he's a very good fighter. Yeah, I do. I actually think he would give Marvin Hagler problems. I think he'd give all them middleweights problems. But that's just my opinion. He has to actually go in there and bang out Peter Quillen, go bang out Jermaine Taylor, Cotto, or step up to whatever he's got to do, 160. Whatever he's got to do to prove himself to be an elite fighter, he's got to go do it. And right now, beating Rubio, after I see Kenny Pavlik manhandling him and his days at world championship level finish right there, I'm not sold on his opponents. His ability, yeah, I think he's got a lot of ability. Yeah.
I know we've had some debate here, back and forth on Triple G. I know Sean has, as well as Ken. I'll go to you on this one, Sean, because I think you are in boxing beats and rounds are kind of on accord here in terms of Triple G, not necessarily in terms of his talent, but in terms of what he still has to prove.
No, I mean, I think any rational boxing fan wants to see GGG fight the best. My only criticism is the hate that some fighters get for not fighting. I mean, he's busy. He's fighting guys. We know dudes rejected fights with him. They don't want to fight him. We know that. That's a fact. So, I mean, fine. We still want to see him against big fights. And if you look at historically, big fights didn't always happen miraculously overnight. Sometimes it took years before things happened. How many bums did fucking Holmes fight before he had big fights? How many high-how fighters did Hopkins fight during his reign for 20 defenses? Obviously, I mean, the guys he's fighting are B level, maybe C+ level guys. But they're not bums. They're all quality guys at the weight. They're all like ranked within the top 15. I mean, they are good tests that he's walked through like dudes before them didn't do. Yes, we want to see him against better competition so we can see what level he truly is at. Of course. I mean, everybody wants to see the big fights. My thing is when people are saying he's ducking Ward, it's like, ugh, be real. Like, let's talk about fucking dudes he can fight. Let's talk about guys that are fighting. Let's talk about, that they don't want Ward to go to 175 to fight big fights that are waiting there for him. A dude that is only fought in his backyard and doesn't want to go to the UK for the biggest payday he'll ever get. But GGG is ducking him. A guy who's going to make him fight in Oakland, make him take less money because he's the A side. But he hasn't fought for like how long? I mean, he's not current. He's not popular. I mean, GGG is going after guys that are going to push his brand higher so that he becomes that pay-per-view star. He wants to fight guys like Chavez, and we can criticize Chavez, but he has a following and a name. He wants to fight Froch, and he'll probably fight Froch in the UK because he has no problem fighting around the world and making the paydays. And he wants to fight a guy like him who also is a big name and looking for a big payday. So these fights are obviously more likely than a Ward fight at this point. But big fights will happen. I just think people are so quick to rip the guy and not be fair and not look at the whole state, the whole business situation that's going on in boxing right now.
Any response, any answer back for that beast?
Oh, I'd love to, man. Like I don't know if you randomly picked Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes defeated Roy Williams in his apprenticeship. He was a really, really, really good heavyweight. Yeah, he took on Ernie Shavers in an eliminator, and he fought Ken Norton for the title in probably the best heavyweight title fight ever, right? So I don't know where you're getting your info. I don't know how you're lumping this guy.
And he went to defend his title against guys that were
it's preposterous to compare Larry Holmes with Triple G. It's preposterous. It is absolutely ludicrous on any level.
Yeah, on any level. I think we're talking about the defenses he's made. I'm not criticizing Holmes as a fighter. So, I mean, I think you need to relax and listen to the comment before you jump on your soapbox. We're talking about the competition he faced as a champion. Holmes, everybody knew he faced limited competition because there was limited guys at the heavyweight division when he was reigning. And
when you say limited, was Ronaldo Snipes was limited?
Ronaldo Snipes, what did he ever accomplish? He was
a very good heavyweight, actually.
Yeah, very good in hindsight.
He's better than the guys Triple G is fighting, bro.
You can say that now because
he is. He's better than the guys Triple G are fighting. Yeah?
If Stevens would have knocked out the Nam, and then it would have been a whole different ballgame. You can't talk about dudes that somebody's fighting that haven't finished their careers yet and look like the past. Talk about guys that have finished their career.
Is a serial underachiever. He lost to Jesse Brinkley. He fights out of his weight limit. Come on, man! Like if that's the best you've got, then I won't be betting. If that's the best you have, I'll let it go.
Well, we know Gil is a two-time champ, but we'll underestimate him because he has no power to hurt him. You know, I mean, guys either have no power to hurt him or they have power, but they're limited.
That was a decent win. That was a decent win. That was a good win.
And that's all I'm saying. Big fights will happen, but people rip the guy based on what? You know, and my comparison to Holmes wasn't comparing him to Holmes. It was based on his defense of the title and the fact that he's made so many against mediocre competition, as many people say.
And
the game of competitive banter is on. I love it. Hold
on. Sorry. Just quickly. Sorry. See, the thing is, Holmes was the undisputed champion.
The day was different, man.
No. You decided to compare him. You're comparing an undisputed champion to someone who's got a portion, a fourth of a belt.
I know. I realize that, and I'm not the person that pushes the 6 belts as being a good thing for boxing. I think it's terrible, and I would be happy if there was one, because then these fights would be made, which in my comments that Kent was talking about earlier, I refer to. The fact that these older fighters who were singular champions, dudes had to fight them, or else they would never get the championship fight or get the money. Nowadays, with 12 or 6 champions, dudes pick and choose which champion they want to fight, which leaves real guys that have the challenge, they avoid them completely. I mean, we know that's true, so that's all I say.
Let me bring Kent in on this. Quick assessment of the fight, Kent, for how little it lasted, but also this debate going back and forth on Gennady Golovkin.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this right now. It's a growing trend with Gennady Golovkin's opponents that once they sign a contract and they take a look at this guy, they're mentally broken. Okay? And I get like people saying, you know, like, well, Rubio was knocked out 3 times prior, but you got to understand that Rubio, you know, he's never once gone out the way he went out in his career ever. Okay? Yeah, he got knocked out by Kofi Jantua, but it was one shot. He was hurt bad. He was gone. And the fight with Pavlik, I mean, he took a beating for 9 rounds and still tried to come forward and land a big shot. So for anyone to say that, you know, that I think that's a little unfair to say, you know, to Triple G, or to, you know, to say that, you know, that was going to happen, and who would have known that was going to happen? I mean, who would have thought he was going to come in a couple pounds, you know, over the weight? You know, who thought that he was gonna, you know, just take the count? I mean, because that's what he did. He took the count. I mean, he just took a shot on a decent shot on the temple. I thought he could beat the count. I definitely thought he could beat the count. But he
And that's what got me. That's got me perplexed.
he took the count because he just in his mind, Marco Antonio Rubio said, "There's no way I can win this fight." He didn't have the belief that he could win the fight. He didn't believe he could win the fight. That's why he took the decent shot and took the count and he probably said to himself, the first decent shot that comes, I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna take the count, as gracefully as possible, and the fight will be over. At the end of the day, I mean, it's not that Triple G did wrong and Triple G did anything wrong. It's Rubio. Rubio did what he did, and that made the fight a farce. Okay. That being said, it's easy for people to say, well, Triple G should fight this guy and that guy, and why isn't it the fights happening? But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give some people some history here. Felix Sturm found a way not to fight him twice. Hassan Endam found a way out of fighting him when he was the #1 contender. That's why he ran off and grabbed the interim WBO belt before he fought Quillen for the full title. You had the Dimitri Pirog situation where he hurt his back. You have Sergio Martinez hemming and hawing for about 2 or 3 years, finding ways, or whenever the subject was brought up, Lou DiBella talked his way out of it. It was like almost talking out of a paper bag. You had Quillen running his mouth for a while, and then all of a sudden, when Loeffler called up Quillen, called up Schaefer at Golden Boy, all of a sudden they priced themselves out of the fight. There's a reason why they're not fighting the guy, and it's obvious why, because he's building a reputation of being a dangerous and a guy that can lay you out with one shot. And for a lot of guys who have money on the table, they're not willing to risk it because they know if they get brutally knocked out by Triple G, there goes the money. There goes the paydays. Everything's gone. Everything is gone. Everything they work for is gone. And that's the reality of it. And I'm not saying that, Triple G is this unbeatable guy, but he's building a reputation, that type of reputation where guys, A, either don't want to fight him or find a way out of fighting him, or B, they sign to fight him and they're mentally broken by the time the bell rings. And then they put on these performances that are that aren't even up to their standards. So at the end of the day, the man is developing a reputation. He's doing what he has to do. Okay, he's fighting the guys he needs to fight. And if nobody like Cotto or Chavez or Frock or Ward or whoever wants to fight him, and personally, I would never take a fight with Andre Ward in Oakland for less money. I don't care who you are. It's not worth it, and it really devalues your stock.
That's incredible what you said there.
You know what?
You've just done this big build-up that this man is this fearless killer. Then all of a sudden, don't take this fight because it's not worth it. That's just absolutely amazing. I find that astounding how people do that in one sentence.
No, I'm saying I would never, if I'm Triple G, I would never, ever, and you don't put words in my mouth. I don't like that. People put words in my mouth. I said I would never take the fight in Oakland against Ward for bullshit money. Okay? You know why? Because it devalues your stock if you take less money and say you lose your belt. Listen. They offered Robert Stieglitz a fight with Ward in Oakland. You know what his promoter did when he heard the amount of money that they were supposedly going to get for the fight, which was ridiculous and not even worth the fight? He laughed at Goosen and hung up. What do you want the man to do? People are not going to fight Andre Ward for shit money. I mean, if it's on a level playing field and it's for good money, then he should take the fight. Absolutely. But if it's for dirt money in Oakland in front of 3,000 people, and nobody cares about Andre.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways, right? You can't be saying I'm doing accountancy and I'm trying to level up the books, but I still want to be looked on as this dangerous fight where everyone's scared. You can't have it both ways. You just can't. You can't have it both ways.
Wait. So Triple G, right, is supposed to take dirt money, right, to go fight in Oakland against Andre Ward in front of 3,000 people, and that just shows you right there. And, and it just shows that even in Oakland, nobody cares about Andre Ward.
Wait. Let me ask a question here. Should that fight happen, who needs to fight more? Ward right now because he's had such a long layoff. He's been more fighting in court.
Who needs
it more? And I'll go to you on this.
Ward needs all the big fights because he's been sitting out of the ring, and he's still living on that Super 6 victory that's about going on 3 years now. So I think he needs it more. I'm gonna go to you on this one, Beast. Who do you think needs to fight more?
Huh?
Who do you think needs to fight more, Beats? Should they fight?
Well, look. It's a stupid question because like the only reason.
Also, Triple G.
No. Hold on. Let me say.
Let him give him a chance to explain himself.
I'm not attacking the question.
Let him give him a chance to explain himself.
No. If we're gonna be boxing fans, I mean, look, Kev, Kev. You're not in Team Golovkin. You're not making no money out of doing the box. We come here to talk boxing, and then you started doing accountancy. I mean, this is crazy. You started doing accountancy.
I can't.
The only logical answer.
I'm supposed
to. And I'll let you come in. Sorry, so I beg you. The only logical answer to that is that Triple G needs that fight more than Ward because he just doesn't have the same credentials as Ward. Forget the books.
Are you talking purely in terms of?
Why are you shaking your head, Sean? So you think Triple G has done more in the game than Andre Ward?
You talking purely in the context of in the ring boxing beats.
Are we making any money by doing Triple G's books? Are any of us making any money by doing Triple G?
Doesn't matter. We are allowed to make a comment. You're basically saying that we can't comment on the financial situation of the fighters. I'm just saying that.
Okay, well, Floyd should never fight Steve Thurman.
Question. One question, then you can comment. What has Ward done in a year?
Nothing.
What has Golovkin done in a year?
He's stayed busy and he's fought and he's built his brand and he's a popular fighter. And it's not about money; it's about popularity. Boom.
Boom what? Boom what?
Boom.
What?
I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about accounting.
You guys are basically writing off the fight. He doesn't need to fight. Well, look, I agree. Look, I agree with you guys. Triple G doesn't need to fight Ward. He doesn't need to fight no one. He doesn't need to fight. The next defense, let's see, who should he go for?
Murray.
Who should he fight? I agree with you. Anything you guys say, I'll agree with it. No, I'll just agree with it. He doesn't need the Ward fight. He doesn't need who else don't he need?
No, we're not saying that.
He does need the Ward fight, no doubt about that.
I feel like
who does Ward need to fight?
What do you mean Ward needs to fight?
Who does he need to fight?
People should be wanting to. If you think you're an elite boxer in 2014 at 160 and 168, you should be looking to challenge yourself against Andre Ward. Or anything else is ducking or looking for the easier path to resistance.
Okay.
Anything else is looking for the easier path to resistance.
Excuse me, Pete. So you're talking about in terms of his resume, in terms of what he's done in the ring alone.
What else could we be talking about? The Super 6 winner.
Listen. I think somebody has the impression that Triple G is a ducker, and I don't think that's a fair assessment of the man. Okay.
No. I didn't accuse. I accused you of doing the books. I wasn't actually
I
pointing.
mean, accuse me of doing the books.
Yeah, you was doing his books, man. You was doing accountancy.
Well, listen.
That's not viable. Why the fight's not viable? You were doing accountancy.
Yeah, well, because it's true. You're going to be fighting for dirt cheap money if you fight Andre Ward in Oakland in front of a few thousand people. It's not like you're getting millions.
So what? You won't be getting more than what he fought Rubio.
Do you know what he got to fight Rubio?
So you don't think you get more than fight? So you're telling me a fight with Rubio is worth more to Triple G than a fight with Ward? Is that that's all I'm asking? That's all
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that a fight like that, he should get paid at least a couple million for that fight. That's all I'm saying. But you can laugh all you want, okay? I'm not doing the books for anybody, but I'll tell you this: there's no one should ever take dirt money to fight Andre Ward in Oakland. I think
because he's that good. Right? Is he that good? Yeah, is he that good?
I didn't say it wasn't about Golovkin being good or better than.
No, is Ward that good? I'm saying, is Ward that good? Is that what you're saying?
I think he's a great fighter, but he just
so
is
good that you should expect the maximum. I mean, like you should make sure you squeeze everything out of it, or not just
absolutely. But the thing is, to see the difference with Ward. The difference with Ward is he's not fighting. Triple G is calling out the best and defending his title while doing that. That's the difference. There's a difference here. You know, it's not. I'm not saying Ward wouldn't beat him or Ward is not as good as Triple G or anything like that. I'm saying that he's not fighting, and he's living on 3 years ago in the Super 6 when he beat Brock, and he beat Kessler, and he beat Abraham, and he beat all these guys that are now gone on and done notable things while he's still sitting on the pine. You know? It's like the world, listen, the world doesn't stop for Andre Ward. That's what people don't understand, and people are going to label him as a top 3 pound for pound. He doesn't fight enough to be, you know.
Well, he still is, in my opinion, based on solely what he's done up until...
Okay, what has he done in the last 3 years, Mike? Tell me what he's done in the last 3 years. Name me one top fighter.
You're right. Unmute the mic, Ben.
Hey, Mike, can I jump in, Mike?
Yeah, Ben is joining us. Unmute, Ben, go ahead, Ben.
I just want to give my opinion on this, what you guys are talking about right now. Am I echoing?
A little bit.
But go ahead.
All right, I completely agree with Beats. Like, why are we talking about this guy's finances? And you're talking about you should get a lot of money to fight Andre Ward, but Delvin Rodriguez got $1 million before he got fined $100,000 for not making the weight to fight Andre Ward in Oakland. And where I come from, $1 million is a good payday, especially for Golovkin, who's never made that type of money in his career.
So we shouldn't talk about what a guy should do.
Let me finish my statement. Why are you jumping in? What's the excuse for not fighting a man when you're going to make at least $1 million? What's the excuse? I don't see one, because you're talking about you shouldn't fight him for an amount of money, but Golovkin's never made $1 million in a fight, and Delvin Rodriguez made, well, he would have made $1 million if you'd have made the weight for fighting Andre Ward in Oakland. So then there's no excuse. So what I'm hearing here is Golovkin fans making excuses for him not fighting the best guys out there. And I don't want to hear about fighting Rubio. I don't want to hear about fighting Rubio and Curtis Stevens and all these guys staying busy means anything. You're fighting C-class fighters. It doesn't. You haven't fought a top 10 guy besides Rubio. And I'm supposed to believe that this guy, everybody's afraid of this guy, everybody's ducking him, but he hasn't fought a top 10 guy. Meanwhile, the guy that everybody says the biggest ducker, Peter Quillen, was fighting better guys than him. So what are we talking about?
Go ahead, Ken, before we move on. Before we move on, final comments before we move on to other fights.
Quillen fighting better guys. Okay, let's name who he fought. Let's start with who he fought compared to. Let's start that. Let's break out Quillen's resume. And I feel that's just like an insult, like to even like compare.
Hassan N'Dam is better than anybody that Triple G has ever fought. So you don't need to look at his resume. An old Winky Wright is better than anybody Triple G has ever fought.
Yeah,
you don't need to look at his resume.
Right, that was retired for 4 years.
I don't need box rec like you. I can do this off the top of my head. An old Winky Wright was better than anybody. Would beat everybody that Triple G fought to this day. And Dom will beat everybody that Triple G's fought this day. And Peter Quillen beat both those guys.
Winky Wright, who's been out of the ring for about 4 years, is better. Is a great win.
So you're telling me Curtis Stevens. So you're telling me Curtis Stevens would beat that version of Winky Wright? Because if you say that, you're lying to yourself. You're telling me that Rubio would beat that version of Winky Wright? If you say that, you're lying to yourself.
Well, in fact, if you're from Brooklyn, I wonder why you're so biased.
Oh, come on now.
Winky Wright's not from Brooklyn. What are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about with Quillen trying to make him like he's better than what he really is.
Newsflash, guy. Peter Quillen's not from Brooklyn. He's from Michigan. He just lives in Brooklyn. So you got to get your...
well, that's the point. That's the point. You're biased. So whatever.
Yeah, I'm biased for a guy that's not even from where I'm from. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So, if Denam is better than anybody that GG fought, why did he run away from the fight?
I don't know why Indom made a decision to do what he did. That's not what I'm stating. I'm stating that Indom is better than anybody that Triple G has beaten.
Well,
I didn't say he was better than Triple G. I said Peter Quillen's resume is better, and I got facts to back that up.
Yeah, you're biased.
I mean, Denam has had one big victory against
I'm talking about resume.
Resume.
Who was he beat?
We've been hijacked.
Nah. Look, I don't mind.
Nah, we've been hijacked, bro. This is fucking joke, man.
Nah. I don't think it's...
because none of these people would ever say it to my face, like what they're going on about.
What do you mean? Say what? You mean?
Say what? It's fine.
No,
have
it's
opinion.
not fine. When people start insulting me and talking,
Nobody insulted your name. We just challenged your points, and you're getting.
When did you get insulted? When did you get insulted?
When did somebody?
Oh, you know what? I see. This is the thing. This is the funny thing about people like that. I slap when they talk like.
Come on now. Let's not go there on this show.
No, I would slap him.
Who would you slap?
You see, he's talking about slapping people that he doesn't know. And I'll say this, Mike, and I'm gonna be respectful for you because I like you, Mike. Whatever your name is, Kent, you would never slap me, guy. That would never happen. I can.
See, buddy. We'll see, buddy. We'll see.
I guarantee you that. And you're making yourself look.
We'll see.
You're making yourself look so foolish over YouTube. Sean and me and Sean argue all the time, but Sean is not getting. Oh, I'll slap you, and nobody's saying that to him. For even saying
the way I say it, if you slap me, you slap me. But you know, I don't feel under no threat from me, so I'm not going to retaliate to you on that. If you're going to slap me, slap me. And what? That doesn't validate any points you made, yeah?
Yeah, we can go all night about that. Let's move on and talk about other fights because it's getting a little bit heated here, too heated as far as I'm concerned. And talk about the undercard of the feature of Golovkin and Rubio. And
we have to listen to these bitches all night.
Oh, come on now, kid. Come on now. I know these dudes now.
No, I don't care if you know them. They want to talk shit. I'm going to talk shit.
But what else you got?
Let's talk about
No. I'm hijacked, and now I'm holding everything up. This is ridiculous.
Ken, you're not impressing no one. You can't beat up no one from where you are. You can't beat me or Umar from me.
How do you know? Do you know me?
Well, what? You don't know where I am. You're not going to come to. I don't think you're going to fly over to where I am right now.
No, it's not about flying over. I'm just saying the way
talking,
like I don't know nothing.
You're not going to plane over to where I am and knock my door and say,
I'm not. It's not worth it. But the point is,
right. So why say it, Ken? Why say it?
Because if you did it to my face, I would. That's the point.
You sound like a petulant child. You're gonna fight somebody over the internet.
Ken, hold on, Ken. You're a grown man. You came in a hangout, right? You came into a hangout knowing
Now he's
that,
gonna talk to me
knowing that we're all online.
fucking
And now
bitch.
you're talking about you're gonna slap you and
Whatever.
slap my face
Whatever.
when you know the
Whatever.
dynamic was set up for you. You sound ridiculous, Ken. I'm not gonna get angry at you, Ken, and say I'm gonna do this because you sound ridiculous.
No, I said.
Now, if you see my face, then slap me. Then slap me, Ken. But until then, why even talk about it? You sound ridiculous. You're a grown man.
You're trying to
You sound ridiculous, Ken. You sound ridiculous.
Wait. Everybody hold up. Holding up the show and all this. This is my damn show, damn it. Okay. Like I said before, this
Is this really a show, or is this about having your fucking asshole buddies on the show? Like,
no, that's not it. That's why I say.
No, that's what it's becoming, you know. And I feel like, you know, it's becoming.
Ken,
it's not about that. It's not about that at all. And I'm going to say it right now. We talked about
the language you're using, that language you're using, knowing that there can't be no physical altercation with the dynamic. What is the alternative? Me to start saying, yo, is that the alternative?
No, it's you to shut up and just let people talk.
Ken, you sound ridiculous, Ken. Ken, you sound like the phoniest tough guy I've ever heard. You sound ridiculous. You sound absolutely ridiculous, Ken.
Well, you sound like a faggot. Like, that doesn't matter.
Wait. Now, let's not have that language being used. Come on now.
No,
everybody needs to calm down. Everybody needs to calm down at this point. Everybody.
Mike, you got the gayest sounding voice, and you're saying about faggot. You have the gayest sounding voice I've heard. What are you getting? Shut up, Ken.
No faggot calling here, no threatening to slap, no responding, all that. Let's move on, please. Or I have to cut the show off, and we can do this next week. Got it?
Well, I mean,
let's move on and talk about the fight I really want to talk about, and that is Walters Donaire. Can we?
Yeah, I'm cool with that, Mike. I'm cool with that.
All right. On the undercard, fight I was really looking forward to, Nonito Doniare fighting Nicholas Walters. It was for the WBA featherweight belt. I don't care about that. The belts are fraudulent, particularly the WBA. We all know what that's about. The point is, big fight. Hardcore fans, if you want to call it that, we're really looking forward to this fight. Walters ended up stopping Donaire in 6, scoring him, knocking him out by KO. Not only did Walters win, Walters dominated, as far as I'm concerned, at that bout. Slow start in round 1. Walters got a little bit over-aggressive in round 2. Donaire made him pay for it, caught him with a left hook. Walters responded in round 3, knocking Donaire down with the right uppercut. And from that point, it was all Nicholas Walters. The size was too much. And the thing that was really surprising to me, in hindsight, it shouldn't be surprising because Walters was so long, got such long arms. Whenever Donaire tried to use the jab, Walters jabbed right with him, and that, along with his physical style, the power, proved too much for Donaire in the end, as Walters put him down with the right hand towards the end of 6 rounds. Donaire was wobbly as he got to his feet, and the referee stopped the fight. I'll go to you on this one, Sean, and then you can follow up, Ben. Your impressions of the fight, and did you expect? I expected Walters to win. I thought he had a terrific shot, but did you expect him to dominate in that fashion?
Well, last week I picked Donaire. I ran with my boy. Even though his performances of late haven't been the best, you got to stick with your man. I thought Walters, untested, only one big victory. Maybe Donaire was going to. I knew he was going to catch him with the left, and we would see what Walters had. And Walters showed everybody what he had. He took the punch. He recovered. I mean, in the 3rd round, Donaire came out and picked up where he left off and was kicking his ass, and then he dropped him with a sweet little uppercut, and after that, the fight changed, and he ended up just taking over physically, using his jab, using his inside strength just to take over in the inside fighting and stop Donaire, which was a great victory for him, and I'm looking forward to see what he does next.
Ben, your thoughts on Walters, as far as I'm concerned, dominant win over Nonito Doniare.
Well, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm 10 for 10 to my last 10 picks on fights. I'm doing very well. I had Walters winning, and I had him winning for the reasons that were very obvious to me, at least. Is the fact that he's such a big featherweight. Like, you very rarely see featherweights that are that big. He's kind of reminds you of when Donaire was fighting at, like, bantamweight, junior bantamweight. He's just way too big for the guys in the division. And Donaire's just kept moving up, and I think he got to a point where he's facing a guy that not only is big, strong, with a long reach, he's very powerful. So that was going to be a problem. So I knew he was going to win the fight. But my thing is this that I wanted to comment on. People saying that Nonito's done. If Nonito in his heart wants to fight still, there's still guys at 126 he can beat. I think he can beat Abner Mares.
Yep.
And Leo Santa Cruz. I think he can beat hello?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think he can beat those guys. So I don't think he's done unless his heart really isn't in it. And that's my thought on him, because the way Nonito was just so like it almost seemed like he was gonna kiss Walters at the end of the fight. Like, he seemed so like he didn't have no fight left in him. So if that's the case, then he should retire. But if he has it left in him, there's still guys at 26 he could beat. He just needs to stay away from Walters, which he doesn't need to fight him again because he already lost.
I'll go to you on this one, Ken. You can follow up Beats. Featherweight is turning into a hot division right now. Bob Arum announced basically before the fight that the winner of this bout would fight Lomachenko with his bout coming up in November. Your assessment of this bout and your assessment of the future of Walters and with Lomachenko, as well as the other 126 pounders in the world.
Well, it was touch and go. It was touch and go. He nearly got blasted out of there in a second, man. And that's why I was apprehensive up till about a week on who to pick. Then I sided with Walters. I thought Walters, had the ability to do it. He had the size, he had the power. I think that Jamaican blood as well helped sway some of my life. But it was actually a really good fight. It was a really good fight. Like, there was a couple of rounds, I think in the fourth, where they traded books, and he finished it in style. And I think he's a new superstar on the block, man. I think he's a new superstar on the block. And yeah, brilliant, highly impressive. I think Nonito Doniare deserves maximum prop for I don't know why he took the fight, to be honest with you. I don't think no one else what the kind of status he had was about to take a fight like that. So
I've been critical of Donaire, but it speaks to the person that he is, that he actually took the fight. So
yeah, it took a lot of fortitude to do that, man. It took a lot of fortitude, and I love the fight. I love the performance. Nicholas Walters is the man, and if Donaire chooses to move down or stays in the game, I think he gets rid of Santa Cruz, Mares. I think he beats them guys, or it's at least very competitive. And yeah. Really good.
I'll go to you on this one. Ken. For me, I think he will beat Santa Cruz and Mares, but they talk about him fighting Lomachenko. Lomachenko, he's the same size as Walters. Plus, I think he's a better boxer and has a little bit better defense. Your thoughts on the fight with Walters and Donaire, and what your thoughts on the future, particularly a potential future bout with Lomachenko in 2015?
Who's that, to me?
I was going to ask Kent, but it seems like Kent is not there. But I'll just do a round table with everybody else, starting with you, Sean, and Ben. Your thoughts on a potential bout with Lomachenko in 2015, and what do you think about this proposed 2015 tournament, featherweight tournament that's being talked about?
It's a great fight. I sort of think that it's sad that it's coming so quick, but because somebody's going to lose. But it'll be interesting. I mean, for Walters, he's going to fight a real slick fighter, and for Lomachenko, he's going to fight a real long, powerful guy. So, I mean, they're both sort of untested against these type of styles, so it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I would rather see Walters fight Rigo.
Your thoughts, Ben?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think Lomachenko's going to give him a much better fight than Donaire did. It has a real chance to beat him.
I agree. I would agree. Would it be a better fight? And this is my thing. Walter's being, like B said, Walter's being Jamaican. I mean, I'm not Jamaican, but he's Caribbean blood like me. So I gotta claim him. I'm claiming him, even though we're not from the same island. So I'm gonna be rooting for him. I'm gonna be rooting for him. But Lomachenko brings a lot of problems because, like, that's why I picked Lomachenko to beat Gary Russell, because when I watched him fight, the guy is very skillful. He's got good feet. He's got all the punches he needs. He's pretty solid defensively. So that's a tough fight, and I don't really have a pick for that right now. I would have to look at that more. But obviously, I'm going to be rooting for Walters, but I don't have a pick for that yet. And I honestly think that anybody that fights Lomachenko in and around that weight class is going to have a hard time. But the way Salido, even though Lomachenko was coming on late in the fight, the way Salido was getting to Lomachenko, I think, and I think Walters is a much bigger puncher than Salido. I think that would give Lomachenko a lot of problems, that power. But, I mean, it remains to be seen.
We mentioned Lomachenko. Let's also throw Gradovich, Johnny Gonzalez in the mix. How do you think Walters would fare against either of those guys? And anybody can respond.
I think he blows. Gradovich away.
Yep.
And Johnny Gonzalez. I think Johnny Gonzalez. Honestly, in my opinion, Johnny Gonzalez was a good fighter about 8 years ago. I think he just caught a guy in Mares who's full of himself and had no business fighting Johnny Gonzalez, because supposedly they used to spar and Johnny used to give him a beating in sparring. So he should have kind of known better than to get in the ring with that guy. And I just think that matchup was just tailor-made for Johnny Gonzalez. I don't think Johnny Gonzalez is going to fare as well against Walters or Lomachenko or any of the other guys. I think that was just Mars. He's Mars' bogeyman, in my opinion.
Your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, other than Lomachenko, I mean, I don't see who at that weight can deal with Walters. I mean, Mares is too small. He's going to have more problems than Donaire because he doesn't have the same power to bring to it. Johnny Gonzalez, good fighter. He's got power, but, I mean, you know, historically, he's always been somebody that could be beat. You know, it just Mares was, he was familiar with him. And that paid off a lot for him. So,
what about Gradovich?
A guy like Walters, it's just not going to work. I think Walters will just beat him down because he's never been the toughest guy, losing to like strong guys as opposed to skilled guys. And I mean, Walters brings both of those things to the table, so I think that combination would be way too much for him.
What about Gradovich?
Gradovich is limited. I mean, I would like to see Gradovich maybe fight. The English guy, Shelby.
Yeah, well, that should be happening anytime soon, isn't it? Gradovich and Shelby.
Yeah, Shelby, he won an eliminator, I believe, last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I speak to something, Mike?
Go ahead.
Like, I wasn't a believer in Selby, but then for whatever reasons I had, but then I went back and watched this guy's last 3 fights before I watched this fight he had. I think it was last weekend, or not last weekend, the weekend before last against, I forgot. I don't remember the guy he's fighting, but
Bronco.
Bronco. Oh yeah, that kid. I can't speak. Yeah, I can't speak to how good that Australian guy was that he fought, but he was undefeated. He had some knockouts. So, I mean, I can't speak to how good he was. I've never seen that guy fight, but I can tell you this: that Lee Selby kid is very skillful. He's very skillful, and I think he gives a lot of guys problems in that weight class. That kid is good. I don't see many guys in that weight class beating him. I think it would take a Lomachenko or Walters to beat him in that weight class. I think he beats everybody else. As long as they don't push him to Walters or Lomachenko too fast, I think that kid is gonna be something special.
Let's move on and talk about Steve Cunningham, who also fought this Saturday in his hometown, Philadelphia, beating a guy by Visinia. Visinia was something like 70 pounds bigger. I thought early on that Visinia might give him some trouble because he was size and he was cutting off the ring. But as the fight went on, the skill, as far as I'm concerned, the toughness and the heart of Cunningham showed its way through as he really began to outbox Visinia and punished him until the corner of Visinia stopped it at the end of round 7. Cunningham scored his first stoppage as a heavyweight and I'll go to you on this one, Beats. Your thoughts about Steve Cunningham and how he's performed since he's moved up to heavyweight?
Well, I saw the fight. And the guy paid for his reckless approach. I think he underestimated Steve. He thought he could just walk for him. And
Excuse me for interrupting, but do you think it was just a matter of his inexperience?
No, it's not a matter of inexperience. Defense is defense. Defense is defense. I mean, and he came in there and thought that he could just eat the punches with his face, walk through them, and eventually he'll land one on Steve, and that would be enough. But he was dealing with a former cruiserweight champion and an experienced campaigner who knew what he was doing in there. And he paid the penalty, man. He paid the penalty. He was taking in the 6th round. He took so many punches, man, and he wasn't even cut that badly. Like, they tried to say it was an injury stoppage. No, that was a demoralizing loss because he learned a big lesson in there. That no matter how strong and big you are, you need finesse. You need finesse, man. You know what I mean? And like Steve punished him. He punished him. Good performance.
Your thoughts, Sean?
I didn't see the fight, but I mean, I'm not surprised the smaller, faster, skilled fighter ended up getting the victory. I mean, the other guy, he was hoping to use, strength to overwhelm him, and he went to the body well. But, I mean, the champion, the guy that has the skill, has the history behind him, did what he needed to do. I think he's too small for heavyweights, but there's some fights out there for him.
Your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I seen the fight. And, the fight was weird to me. It was a good fight, though. Don't get me wrong. It was a very good fight. But like when Cunningham got knocked down, the punch really didn't even land on his face. It looked like it landed on his trap or shoulder.
Yeah, it was more of a shot on the shoulder, and the weight of seeing him pushing down more than the actual significant punch.
And when I seen that, that's the only thing that worries me about Cunningham at heavyweight. Because if a punch on your shoulder is putting you down, then that's telling you that the force behind it. But Cunningham showed that he like Beats and Sean said, he had experience. I mean, he's been a champion multiple times at cruiserweight. He had enough experience, and enough defense, and enough skills to get him through the fight. And I used to be one of these guys that used to always say, "Oh, the size." But Beats had to school me on that. There's always been guys that little guys beat big guys. So I'm not gonna sit here and discount this guy. I think if he gets the right title fight at heavyweight, he could have a chance to win. Like if he would have fight, like Povetkin would end up picking up another title, I think he could beat a guy like that. You know what I mean? I don't know if he could beat a Klitschko for the fact that how Klitschko fights. Klitschko likes to lean on you, put his weight on you, and that's what gave Cunningham trouble when he fought Tyson Fury. If it wasn't for the fact that Tyson Fury had that size, he wouldn't have won that fight. But he leaned on Steve, and he took all his gas out of him, and then he finished him off. So long as he can fight a guy that he can avoid having lean on him, I think he could do pretty decent in the heavyweight division.
And it seems Kent has left us. I'll do a round table. Here. You mentioned Povetkin. And anybody can chime in. Where exactly does Cunningham fit here? Because he's an exciting fighter. As far as I'm concerned, NBC Sports should feature him more because of his exciting style. But he's kind of in a rut. I don't see him competing with the Klitschkos or the big guys because those are the guys that really matter. I don't see him competing necessarily with Stavern either or Deontay Wilder. Where does he go here? Because if we're going to really be honest, he needs the fights just for his daughter's sake. He needs the fight. But where is the big fight that's going to make him any real money? Where is that going to come from?
Well, he can take on the winner of Takam or Povetkin. He can take on the winner. He's okay. He lost to Tyson Fury. He's back on. He had a really good win against Mansour, a big puncher. He's an entertaining guy. He's a likable guy. There's a few fights out there for him. So he's just got to keep moving along. He's just got to stay motivated. He's only a couple of fights away, or maybe a fight away from a championship fight, especially in this climate here, where there's no real outstanding contenders as such. There's no one outstanding. In contendership. He'll be a fight away. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad for him right now.
Sean, Ben, your thoughts?
What about that? I was gonna say this. What about that guy? Doesn't that guy Chigayev got some kind of version of the heavyweight title? I know it's probably a fake version. I fully admit that.
But you know it's the WBA and that's fraudulent and that
Yes,
nonsense, but he has one of those belts, so I don't even count that.
I know that, but I mean, if you're talking about his chances of winning some type of world title, even though me personally, I wouldn't consider that a world title, I would say he should go the Chigayev route. So at least if he, because that guy's not too young, so at least if he can beat him, you know, he win a world title, and I'm putting air quotes in there, and then maybe he can cash out on a fight against Vladimir. I think that's his best route because, like you said, I don't think he can hang Stavern for the pure fact that Stavern, even though he looks small compared to Vladimir, that guy is not small, and he has deceptively fast hands. So I think that would be a bad decision for him to try to fight him. And Deontay's too big. I think he might be a little bit too, not even too big. He's too tall and too powerful and too long. I'm not even talking about his weight. It's just the length of the jab and then just the power. So I think the Chigayev route would be the best route for Steve Cunningham.
Sean?
I think isn't Cunningham working with Haymon now?
I don't know. I didn't know that.
For some reason, I think so. I could be wrong, but I think him. You know, I mean, he's sort of working towards a David Haye fight. You know, they're both names, and they both, with some magical, mysterious heavyweight belt, would sell.
Yeah, that's a good fight. Hey, I mean, that's unfinished business from the cruiserweight days.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
That's a good fight. That's a good fight.
Let's move on. Not much news, but I'm going to make up some news. You mentioned Haymon. He's been criticized before by not putting on good fights, particularly over this past year. I've been one of his critics, by the way. Well, he announced this week a couple of fights that's going to be happening. One in December with Demetrius Andrade, IBF junior middleweight champion, I believe. He's going to be fighting Jamal Charlo in December. He also, another announcement that was made was Amir Khan getting back into the ring and fighting a fight that should have happened in 2013, as far as I'm concerned. Devon Alexander. I know I'll go to you on this one, Beast. I know you've been more of a defender of Al Haymon than I am, and I concede that, and I kind of eating crow right now because he made these fights. Your thoughts on these announcements of these fights, and particularly Al Haymon?
Well, they're good fights, man. Like, it seems like nobody out of America knows who Bundu is. He actually beat Frankie Gavin, who was rated at least 3 or 4 by 2 governing bodies, and he was rated.
You mentioned Bundu. I forgot that other fight. Keith Thurman's going to be fighting Bundu as well.
Yeah, that's a good fight. I think he's been undersold by a lot of comments I've heard from American pundits in the YTBC. And that's a good fight, and I think there's a good chance that, I mean, Bundu could do something in that fight. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Thurman goes in favorite. It was by no means a foregone conclusion.
Bundu's he's 39, but he's a very young 39, given how late he started in the game.
Yeah, he's undefeated as well. I mean, he's 31 victories, 2 draws, and they're technical decisions. They're not like draws that went to the scorecards. They're injury draws. You know what I mean? He was ahead in one of them, and like this is a competitive fight, but I don't think people realize that. If Thurman blows him out early, it would just show what kind of power he has. But it's a good fight. Khan versus Alexander, that's a competitive fight in terms of they're both highly ranked. I think the styles are going to clash though. I don't think for those who like thump fights, it's not going to be good for them. But you know, I don't watch boxing for the same reason a lot of people do. Like, you know, I'm just interested to see 2 high-ranked contenders, you know, pit their wits against each other, and then we know where we stand in terms of rankings and what either man can do when the fight finishes. So I'm happy with the card. And we got Charlo versus Bubo Andrade. That's a guy I've supported for a long time because they used to show his fights on Channel 5 quite a lot. And I expect him to deal with Charlo relatively comfortably, you know, and become something in the game. Yeah, good card. Good card.
Your thoughts, Sean?
Good fights. I'm excited to see Con Alexander, to see who is the better boxer. It'll be interesting to see Charlo, to see what he's made of, fighting like a tough fighter and a good boxer as well in Andrade. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens when it all pans out and who's on top and what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look. No real significant fights going on this week.
On that, Mike.
Oh, go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
As far as the Leonard Bundu versus Keith Thurman fight, I think that is a good fight because I think Leonard Bundu is a lot better than people give him credit for. Because I have seen him fight for the strength that I do know beats in Arrow, and they put me up on that Frankie Gavin fight. He's a pretty solid fighter. I don't think Keith Thurman is just going to walk through that guy like he's been everybody else. And I'm glad to see Amir Khan fight somebody with a pulse because this guy has just been kind of trying to tread water until he could get a Mayweather fight that I don't think he'll ever get. And I don't think he'll deserve it because he's not fighting anybody. And I don't know that he could beat Devin, and I don't pick Amir Khan in any fight, but that's just me. And the Charlo Andrade fight, I watched the interview on Carcino's channel, and from what Andrade was saying, he was saying that fight's not even signed. He said it's basically the same situation when they said he was going to fight Korobov, but nothing is signed, nothing's in stone. So I don't even know that we could even speak on that fight actually happening because the way he was talking, it don't seem like it's gonna happen.
I haven't heard. What was that, Beats?
What'd you say, Beats?
Oh, the fight, I didn't realize the fight wasn't in. I think that after
yeah, it's not done yet. And Andrade was saying that he wants to fight. Andrade was talking about fighting. He wants to fight Canelo and Ishe Smith and other guys. The last thing he was really thinking about was Charlo. It didn't seem like he was really even up for that fight. It don't seem he blatantly said that the fight ain't signed. So I have a strong suspicion that fight's not happening. It might just be another one of those things where promoters or whatever put something out there that really ain't gonna happen. But I don't think that's gonna happen. And honestly, in my opinion, I know this might sound like a cop out. I don't really want to see those two guys fight each other. I want to see them go their own way and both win titles and then fight. So at least it means more. But I know Beast is gonna kill me fast because Beast likes some young guys fight early, lost don't mean nothing. I'd prefer them to fight each other later on.
Interesting. I'm kind of with Beats on this. I say let them fight now because you never know, they could be upset or whatnot. Something could happen. So while the fight can be made, let's make the fight get made.
Yep. There's too much building up fights. Let's say, no, there's enough of that in boxing already.
Because I remember,
yeah,
I'm gonna show my age here. I remember going back to the early to mid '90s. They were talking about Tracy Harris, Patterson, and Kennedy McKinney. A lot of build-up for that fight, a lot of talk back and forth. Matter of fact, Kennedy McKinney, before his rematch with Nita, went to Patterson's fight, kind of interrupted and kind of made a fuss during the post-fight press conference. And then what happened? Both lost their next fight, and the fight never got made. So on this one, I'm with Beats. Your thoughts, Sean?
Well, it's like Gamboa Wama. You're building it. Guy gets exposed, and then it's just done. And then basically Gamboa's career went into the toilet, and the other guy fought a lot but lost a lot too. So yeah, I mean, at this point, Charlo, he's at that stage where he wants to step up and prove that he's upper echelon. So you need to beat a guy like Andrade, who is one of the top 3 or 4 guys at the weight. So it's a good fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna start. Go ahead, Beats.
No, it's a good fight, man. And like the way I see it, man. If they fight and it's a close fight, they can do it again. I mean, what? I don't understand boxing these days. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's nothing as this, Beast. I'm a big fan of both those guys. That's why I'm kind of apprehensive about them fighting each other. And he's fighting the good Charlo, in my opinion. He's fighting the more skillful boxer Charlo. So I don't even think that would be a fight that. I mean, fight like me and you, and I think Mike would love to see that fight because that's going to be a tactical, skillful fight because they're both boxers. But a lot of people are not even going to really care about that fight. I think it's going to be wasted if they don't build themselves up to the point where people can appreciate it besides us. Because that's not going to be no knock 'em out, bang 'em out. No, it's not going to be that. It's going to be a chess match.
Yeah, well,
that's what that fight. He's fighting Jamal. He's not fighting Jamal.
It's not going to be. If it's not going to be a rock and sock fight, then it's not going to be more valuable in 2 years' time. They might as well do it. It doesn't matter. I mean, look, let them fight, man. That's the whole point. Fighters in their prime. I think we're going to have to mute them because I think you're forcing the thing to delay. We need to get fighters in their prime to fight each other. You know, whether that's Golovkin, Charlo, or thing. That's what needs to be happening. The saving up fights and mark time fights. It's not doing no one no good. You know.
And who else do you want to see them fight? Ishe Smith? I mean, nobody wants to see that fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying I want to see him fight Ishe Smith. I'm just saying that's what he said he wanted. I'd rather see Andrade get shot at Canelo. Because me personally, I don't think Canelo has proven anything. Every fight that he's had that he stepped up, he's either lost or won controversially. I don't think that guy is what he says he is. So I would rather see Charlo or Bubu, preferably Bubu Andrade, because I'm like him a little bit more. Get a shot at him because they would expose him for what he really is, which is overrated. But that probably won't happen because they're going to protect him, and even if it did happen, they'll probably give it to Canelo anyway. But that's what I would prefer to see.
I would say fight Cotto. I mean, fight they're pushing, and it's a better fight, entertaining fight. And at this point, maybe Canelo should move to 160 because it's not like he's making 154 easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Canelo moves to 160, he's going to get body bagged. That's why he's fighting. That's why he's fighting catchweights at 158 because he's scared to go to 160 because he knows he knows he loses his advantage. That's why I don't understand. Go ahead.
There's nobody at 160. You know, besides GGG, maybe Quillen. I mean, this guy Korobov, who's young. Who else is there? I mean, he goes up there, fights Cotto, wins a title at 160, and then there's lots of dudes that he can fight. I mean, you know, and if he fights at GGG and loses, it's huge. So I mean, he's going to get paid out big.
I don't think a fight with GGG does Canelo any good. Because first of all, in my opinion, I'm not a believer in GGG as of yet. I don't think Canelo's beating that guy. I think Canelo will get put to sleep. And if he fights Quillen, I think he'd get put to sleep. So I don't really see the upside for Canelo fighting those guys as far as him thinking and his thinking. I would love to see it, but I don't see his thinking, and I don't think he can beat Cotto. So I don't see those fights happen. I just see Canelo as, I'm not a believer in Triple G, but I see Canelo as a way more protected fighter than even Triple G is. In my opinion, I think Canelo's way too protected, and I don't see him accepting any fights with anybody good. They're gonna try to finesse his career, for lack of a better word.
Since there's really not going to be any fights worthy of talking about this week, I want to do an early preview of Hopkins and Kovalev and continue to do a preview of it next week. As we all know, November 8th, Bernard Hopkins is going to be fighting Sergey Kovalev, light heavyweight unification bout. They had kind of like a preview on HBO of the bout following Golovkin and Rubio. And I'll go to you on this one, Sean, and then Beats, and then you can follow up your early assessment of this bout. For me, for fans like us, this is the fight that we're all looking forward to. I was looking forward to this fight more than Mayweather Maidana 2 or any other fight in the year in 2014, as far as I'm concerned. I'm really pumped up for this bout.
Well, I would rather it was Kovalev against Stevenson and then the winner face Hopkins. But I mean, at this point, I mean, it's one of the top fights of the year for sure. But Hopkins tends to make fights ugly and slow and you know, fight to his advantages, which I mean necessarily aren't the best fights available. Whereas Kovalev, I mean, is the opposite. He's the guy that is in entertaining fights. So we will see if the old veteran can control the pace of the fight, and if Kovalev can and keep his volume up. Because if he keeps his volume up, he will win the fight. I mean, Hopkins has always had problems with volume punchers. I mean, his key is always that he's able to stop guys from throwing, make them hesitate, not get their punches off, and then he dictates the pace, and he goes 12 rounds, and he ends up getting the victory. If he can do that, he will get another victory against another young guy, and I don't know if it's great for 175. And if Kovalev can keep his volume up and prove that he's legitimate and that he has more tools than people give him credit for, then it leads to a super fight down the road.
Your thoughts, Beats?
Oh well, you know, it's hard to believe that when we're talking about a 50-year-old with a big power puncher, one of the hardest punches in the game, and he's got a shot at it. He's got a shot at it. He's got we have to consider that one day Hopkins he has to get old in that ring. Either retire or he's going to get old in that ring, and somebody's going to make him pay. Whether that's Kovalev, I'm not sure. I don't tip Hopkins to win fights anymore because of the ages. But who knows? I'm still not committed on the outcome, but it's a great fight. It's definitely a great fight.
I go to you on this one, Ben. I think Mo Hopkins doesn't have just a decent shot. I think, look, people call me crazy for this, but I think Hopkins, he has a real shot to win because as dominant as Kovalev has looked Ben, I still see flaws in his attack and in his defense, and I think Hopkins don't take fight like this. Hopkins takes fights for a reason because he sees a weakness, he sees something that he can expose, and I think he sees that in Kovalev. Kovalev is going to be a tough fight, but I think Hopkins sees something that in Kovalev that he can take advantage of, and plus I think Hopkins is going for true glory here.
Yeah.
Ben?
I completely agree with you. I'm going to go to the words of the OG James Ali Bashir. Bernard Hopkins is a cop, and he's about to do it again. B-Hop doesn't take fights unless he's, like you said, unless he sees something. And I think he sees that Kovalev is there to be had. And I've watched a lot of Kovalev fights, and I've seen Kovalev hit the deck a few times. He hit the deck. So his chin, I'm not going to say his chin is shaky, but he can be hurt. It's not like he's some kind of impenetrable force. He can be hurt. I'm not saying B-Hop hit the deck, but what I'm going to say is B-Hop has enough power to make you respect him. And I think once he feels that, Kovalev is not going to – he's going to get out of his game, and he's going to let B-Hop mess around with him, frustrate him. B-Hop be hitting him in the back of the head, elbowing him, hitting him in his kidney. He's doing all the little subtle things that he does. He's going to frustrate him, and I think he's just going to frustrate him to another W. And that's what I see happening. I don't see Kovalev being a good enough boxer to beat B-Hop, even at this age. Unless he hits him with a shot or knocks him out several times. I don't see that happening.
Part of Hopkins' MO has always been his mastery of psychological warfare. What he says in the press conference, how he acts, how he will talk about fighters. Do you see anything in Kovalev so far in the lead up and in the press conference that's shown him to be susceptible to the psychological tactics of Hopkins going into the fight? And
he's got no choice but be mesmerized. He has to fight like anyone who thinks that he's not in awe of the reputation. I'm not saying that's going to make him lose, but he has to overcome that. Like Bernard's basically a philosopher. He doesn't know it, but he's basically a philosopher. He could talk for ages, and somehow he makes it all make sense. You know, he'll go off on a tangent, and then right at the end of the narrative, he'll tie it up, and it all makes sense. So, the psychological warfare at this level, fighting Bernard, you have to deal with it. You can't just say, oh, it's not a factor. No, it will definitely be a factor. In so many fights.
Your thoughts, Ben? Okay, I'm sorry. Your thoughts, Ben, and you can follow up, Sean.
No, I agree with Beats, but the only thing I think that might be a little different in this fight is for the pure fact that even though Kovalev can say like his 100 words that he knows in English, he really doesn't understand the stuff that B-Hop's saying half the time, I bet, because like B said, B-Hop will be talking so much. When I listen to him, I'll be confused 15 minutes into the interview, and then 5 minutes later it all makes sense. And I know English very well. So I can't think that Kovalev can understand everything that B-Hop's going on about. But just the aura and the fact that Kovalev being a boxer, he knows what a B-Hop's accomplished. He knows who this guy's beaten. So he knows in his mind that this guy is a walking Hall of Fame boxer. He's a living legend. So, I mean, he's got to have some kind of apprehension just because of that. And having apprehension going into a fight is, I don't know that that's ever a good thing.
Your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, I think Kovalev, like they say, he doesn't understand a word that Hopkins goes on about. I mean, he probably reads it and sees like the meaning that way, and people probably translate some stuff like short form for him. But and I'm sure he watches lots of tape and he thinks this guy's just a 50-year-old guy, and when he watches him, he doesn't look impressive. He doesn't look like he hits hard. He's not fast. But then he still sees him win and sees guys not throw punches. So I think the biggest problem he's going to have is when he watches tape, he's going to think, well, that's not going to happen to me because he's not doing anything to stop me from throwing punches. But once he gets in the ring, then hopefully he's well schooled enough to be able to adapt because, until he's in front of Hopkins and Hopkins is giving him the angles and doing those small subtle things that stops him from being able to throw his shots, then he would get frustrated. But we will see. I'm hoping he wins, but, you can't be surprised at this point if Hopkins gets a W.
Follow-up question, Sean. What do you think the role of John David Jackson being the trainer of Kovalev will play?
I think he's smart the way he's doing it. He's downplaying Hopkins, just trying to make him out to be an old man that has nothing left and that if you push, he's going to fold. And in truth, that's true. I mean, nobody's been in a slug-out Maidana Floyd type of fight with Hopkins. And I mean, really, that's what I think Kovalev has to do. I don't think Hopkins will be able to take it for 12 rounds. I mean, throughout his last 5-6 years, there's been dips and peaks in his performances. At times he looked like he was an old man and didn't have much left and his legs were shot. And then other times, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, he's got second wins and fought well. And his last 2 fights, he had lots of energy and threw lots of punches against those. They're both sort of limited guys at that weight. But I mean, he threw punches a lot. And he even took some shots and showed that he was willing to sort of go toe-to-toe a little bit.
You say limited. Shumanov was a rival belt holder, man.
Yeah, but
Shumanov
never beat anyone, and he didn't even have a trainer.
That's not the point. That's not. He was a rival belt holder. This is what I'm talking about. See, this is what like everyone's celebrating. I don't want to keep going on the Triple G. Yeah. Everyone's celebrating his punching power. He's not matching that against no belt holders. So look, sometimes it might look okay, he's knocking this guy out. But until you actually go and fight that big occasion, that big unification, then things change. You know what I mean? Things change. Sometimes there's a reason why someone has a full belt, and until you fight them, you don't know. Hopkins is a big occasion guy. And like you can't just write off the Shumanov victory like that. You can't just write it off. Who's to say that Shumanov wouldn't give Kovalev hell in there?
But to his point, though, when you go into a fight, you don't have a trainer. That says something there. That says something about Shumanov that's not very good. And for me, you can't, but you could only speculate. And I think that Kovalev, he would have beaten Shumanov, but that's just all speculation. But to go into against a guy as seasoned as Hopkins and not have any advice, not have someone in your ear telling you what to do, That's not a good sign, and Hopkins just took advantage of it.
Well, look, boxing, you have to be. People say he took advantage of it, like, you know. Look, I've been told by.
I'm just saying that having a corner man, it does matter.
No, but you see, the thing is, yeah, I've been told by boxers themselves, like, boxing, you have to be an opportunist. If someone hasn't got this or that, you have to go in there and take advantage of it. It's not up to me to say, oh, he didn't have a coach and this and that, so, you know, I make excuses for him. No, this is a fight. If you're not coming there prepared, you can lose your life. If you're not going to take it serious, there's no reason why I shouldn't give the other man credit for being an opportunist and taking advantage of it. So I'm not going to give. I see. My thing is, I don't give no fighters no outs. You didn't have this. You don't. I don't give no one no outs. No one gets no outs. Yeah. If you chose to go into that fight, a unification fight with no coach, I'm not going to hold it against the other fighter. The fighter took advantage of your lack of preparation. If that's the case, tough on you.
Beats lives by the code of Ivan Drago. If he dies, he dies. He does not make any excuses. I'll tell you that much.
Yep.
Your thoughts, Sean, before we shut the show down? Because for me, let's just say I agree. I tend to, we're going to agree to disagree on this one. Your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't running either one of those two guys down, but to say that they were the top of 175 is giving them too much credit based on resume. So my point was that the last two fights against guys that some people would criticize as far as the resume was concerned, he has shown lots of energy. I was giving a compliment that he was throwing a lot of punches, and he's shown a lot of zest in his last two fights. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he can bring that into the Kovalev fight.
And I think that the Shumanov thing, if you don't have a trainer, I think obviously that's going to be a disadvantage. But I don't hold that against B-Hop.
Yeah, nobody was.
No, I don't think you do. I don't think you were. I'm just saying my opinion. I don't hold it against B-Hop. I hold that against Shumanov for not, preparing himself and getting himself a trainer. I don't understand why you don't have a trainer. If you're a world champion, you should have some type of trainer, at least have a second opinion in your corner to give you some type of help and some type of insight on what's going on in the ring. And I think that was a big mistake on his part for not paying for a trainer. And from what I understand, Shumanov fights because he wants to, because he comes from like oil money or something. This dude's family is like billionaires or something. So why the heck don't you invest in a trainer? You got all this money. I don't understand.
You thought he didn't need a trainer. You thought he didn't need it.
And if he really genuinely didn't need a trainer, then that's his own fault.
Yeah, exactly. You say, look, if you're a boxer, you make your own decisions to create the environment in the camp that how you want it done. He didn't think he needed a coach. He thought what he knew or what he was doing was good enough, and he fell by it. Look, you do what you do. You prepare, and you go in there, and whatever preparation you use is what you take into the ring. I can't. After you fell, I can't come. Oh, you should. No. You lost. You lost to the better fighter. To the better fighter. Regardless of your coach, you lost to the better fighter.
Hey, Mike, I wanted to get, before you shut the show down, Mike, my bad, Beats. I wanted to get your opinion on the Chris Eubank versus my man. I can't remember his name right now.
Before you go to that, I was going to say, and I hope if Hopkins beats Kovalev, I hope, because people ever say, oh yeah, this, that, Bernard did this, and Kovalev should have did this, and no. The best man wins. The best man wins. Barring bad judges or a head clash, the best man wins. Simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. Either way, if Kovalev wins, I don't want to hear no excuses. And if B-Hop wins, which I think he will, I don't want to hear no excuses. But, Mike, I wanted to get your opinion on that fight before you shut the show down.
Okay, Chris Eubank and Billy Joe Saunders. I'm glad they got all that nonsense with Warren out the way, and the fight is finally been signed. It's being made. Um, I think Eubank is more talented than Saunders. The question is how much of the experience or the lack of experience will take place, will play a role, I should say. Um, Saunders, I think he's a average to good fighter. I don't see anything elite in him. I think Eubank is faster. I think Eubank Jr. Much like his father, is the kind of guy who will step it up once he faces better opposition. All things even. Um, well, you can't take experience aside because it does matter. I just think that Eubank is more talented. He can win on talent alone. He should win, but I don't know if he will. I'm going to go with Eubank here. I'm going to be hesitant about it, but I'm going to go with Eubank here. I think he's going to surprise a lot of folks and defeat Billy Joe Saunders just because I think he's that much more of a talented fighter.
I agree. I think Saunders is more experienced, but I mean, I think Eubank is going to be the better fighter long term. He's got skills. I mean, I thought it was interesting they're talking about him as a future opponent for GGG.
That's too soon. I mean, it's good to talk about it because it gets your name out there. I'm not mad at it, but, the fight's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think the problem is that Saunders does have experience. And Eubank's one problem that I've seen when he's fought is he hasn't thrown enough punches. He's been too passive. And against a guy that throws a lot and is a good boxer, I think he could lose a UD. The same as Groves beating UK fighter. Good fighter. Possible Froch opponent.
Oh, DeGale.
Yeah, DeGale. I mean, DeGale, everybody felt he had more skill and more ability, but I mean, Groves was able to win the early fight. That's sometimes what happens in guys early.
I thought DeGale, I mean, me personally, I thought DeGale won that fight. But by the time, I think the whole GGG fighting, either Billy Joe Saunders or Eubank is a farce because by the time that fight even comes around, GGG will be so damn old and probably took a couple losses by then if he fights the guys that he has to fight. I don't think that fight will be. I think that's just a way for the Eubanks to put their name out there. But
that's not true because they were talking about Saunders being an opponent for Quillen's fight.
Yeah, but they're not gonna put. Listen, be honest with you, I don't understand why they would put Saunders in there with Quillen. Because this is my thing about Quillen. People disrespect Pete so much. It irritates me. They act like this guy, everything he's accomplished was lucky. Like he didn't work for what he did. Like he didn't come from Michigan to New York and was homeless on the streets, building his way up to a world champion. He earned everything he earned.
Yeah, but to be honest, I just have to put that out there for the record.
All right, go ahead. I'll be myself, Mike.
Go ahead. Go what you're saying, and I'll respond.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't like the way that people attack the guy. Like, the guy came from nothing. He was homeless. He fought his way to a world title. He fought good guys, and he became a world champion. The only thing I criticize Pete for is the way he gave up his WBO title. I didn't understand that because me personally, as a man, I'm not giving up my title unless you just blatantly strip me of it. You're gonna have to knock me unconscious for me to give my title up, and that's about it. And that's the only thing I can criticize him for. But I don't think that the fact that people could even think that a guy like Billy Joe Saunders, no disrespect to Billy Joe Saunders, could beat Peter Quillen because I don't see it happen. I see Billy Joe Saunders get put down. That's just my opinion.
Saunders is a good boxer.
Yeah, he is.
And I mean, Nam showed that Quillen can be beat by a boxer. I mean, if he wouldn't have got knocked down 27 times, he would have won that victory.
Well, you see, that's unfair as well, See, once again, he
won all the rounds he didn't get knocked down.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? You see, the thing, I don't know, maybe I've just got too much of a direct approach. You can't go by ifs, The fact is, he scored the knockdowns when he needed to score them. They weren't like lucky punches.
Yeah, but to Sean's point, he got knocked down, but he was getting outboxed there.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. The thing is, he floored the guy when he needed to floor it. Look, getting the victory is getting the victory. He floored the guy. He done what he had to do to win. He clearly won the fight in the end, in my opinion, just through the knockdowns. And who's to say he wouldn't do the same with Saunders?
And I'm not. And my suspicion is not even with that fight with Dom. My suspicion with Quillen was I didn't like how much he struggled against Rosado.
Rosado was beating him.
But
That's my.
let me jump on that. Beast, can I jump on that first, and then I'll let you get it. This is my thing about you struggling with Rosado. A lot of guys struggle with Rosado. Triple G was struggling with Rosado. People seem to gloss over that. Only reason that fight got stopped, not because Rosado got knocked down, not because Rosado was ever hurt, was because he was cut. Triple G was struggling. Did you see Triple G's face after that fight?
Yeah,
Rosado himself said, I don't mean to cut you off, Mike, but I'm going to let you jump in.
Go ahead.
Rosado himself said Pete and Triple G hit the same. Like, I couldn't tell the difference. They both got the same power. They like I don't understand why people big up Triple G for struggling with Rosado but winning, but shit all over Peter Quillen for struggling with Rosado and doing the same thing. Both the fights got stopped because of cuts. Both of them got stopped because of cuts. But Triple G gets elevated and Peter Quillen gets denigrated. I have a serious problem.
Maybe just a different perspective on my part. I just thought that Golovkin was handling Rosado better than Quillen was in that fight. And Quillen hit Triple G with shots, but he didn't hit him. Put it this way: Rosado hits Triple G with shots, but he didn't hit him as often as he hit Rosado. Rosado hit Quillen with more shots, in my opinion, than he did against Quillen. And I think that Rosado hurt Quillen in that fight. Where I didn't see Rosado, he landed shots, but I didn't see him getting hurt at all, like Rosado hurt Quillen.
He floored it. Quillen floored Rosado.
I'm talking about Rosado hitting Quillen. I thought Rosado hurt Quillen more than he hurt Triple G.
Quillen floored Rosado.
Yeah, that's another point, Mike. I'm not accusing you of being no type of hater because I know you're a fair guy from what I know about you. But Beats is right about that. I didn't even think about that point. Peter put Rosado on the ground. Triple G never put Rosado on the ground, and they both got stopped by cuts. But somehow Triple G gets elevated to some kind of god. But both fights got stopped by cuts, and Triple G never floored him.
But that's the end result. I'm talking about the process too. That I thought that Rosado was more effective against Quillen than he was to me. I thought he was a little bit slightly more effective against Quillen more than he was against Triple G, and I can't take away the fact that
That's a fair enough argument. I mean,
I just think I didn't see Rosado hurt Triple G in the same way that he hurt Quillen through that fight. That's all I'm saying.
It's a fair enough argument what you have, and so has been, and so is mine. The point is, I mean, I don't know if Quillen is ducking it or Golovkin is, like sources have told me that Golovkin is ducking it. But I don't know. They should both be fighting, man. They should both be fighting. You know, that's the way I see it. You know.
All I'm saying is you gotta be completely straight down the middle with this. You can't tell me that Triple G's a killer and Peter Quillen's a ducker when they both handled the same guy and one guy knocked the other guy down and they both fights got stopped by cuts. You can't tell me that, because if you're telling me that, then that makes me think that you're biased. But what you're saying, Mike, is fair enough, because like you're saying, you think Triple G did a little bit of a better job, and I don't necessarily disagree with that.
And I think on that note, we're going to shut the show down. It was a doozy. It got a little bit wild and out of hand.
What about Yamanaka?
We can talk about that a little bit before we shut the show down. I don't know if I don't think either Beats or Ben saw the fight, so I'll go with that with you, Sean. Shinzuki Yamanaka defended his WBC bantamweight title yesterday, fighting a Thai fighter by the name of Surian, ex-junior bantamweight champion. Yamanaka scored 3 knockdowns in the bout, 7-8-9 via his vaunted left hand. We'll talk about this quickly, Sean. To me, I think Yamanaka is the best bantamweight in the world, one of the best smaller weight fighters in the world. If you want to go through the flyweight, bantamweight, junior bantamweight reign in that area, look, Rigo is the best, but Yamanaka is not that far off in terms of his talent. I like him a lot as a fighter. I think actually he's the only fighter from 120 at 118, 122 who could give Rigo a decent fight. I'll go to you on this one, Sean, quickly. Your assessments of the fight itself, your assessments of Yamanaka.
I thought he had a hard time with a tough guy in the first part of the fight, but I mean, he did what he needed to do. I think he was a little disappointed that he didn't get another stoppage, but he got the victory. He looked good. He hurt the guy on numerous occasions, and it'll be nice if he steps up and fights somebody like Rigo. You know, two top guys in their weight class meeting to see who has more skill. Because I mean, I don't know if Rigo will move up, but maybe Yamanaka will move up to fight him.
No, I'll go to you. I don't know. I know you didn't see the fight, but have any of you guys, Beats or Ben, have you seen the fight?
No, can't chime in on that one.
Ben?
Yeah, I've seen. I think I've seen another fight before. But I'm not 100% sure, but I do like the little guys. But I definitely didn't see that fight, so I don't want to make a fool of myself and even talk about it because I didn't see that fight.
And I think we're going to. Well, I'll go to you with this one last question, Sean. Yamanaka, his handler said after the bout that they want to fight a unification bout and they want to have a fight in the United States next year. Your thoughts on who would they fight in that unification bout, and if they were to come to the United States, who do you think they should go after?
I can't remember who they said they were going to fight for unification, but they did list the name, and then they listed a few other fighters, but yeah, I can't recall right at this time. But I mean, you know, I want to see him come to the States. I mean, Rigo's struggling for a fight. He wants to go and make a big impact in the U.S. So I mean, you know, that's the kind of fight that would be great. Sort of like when Donaire fought Montiel and Navarez, you know, guys that were dominant in their weight classes and came up to fight him. So, you know, it's a good fight, and it will give Rigo an opponent, and especially a guy that's considered the best in his weight class.
I would love to see him fight Leo Santa Cruz, and I will say it right now, should Yamanaka fight Santa Cruz, he beats him.
That could be the fight, right? Because, I mean, you know, the Santa Cruz's people might underestimate him and think that he's too small, because Santa Cruz is pretty tall for his weight. But, I mean, so is he.
Yeah, absolutely. Both are tall for the division. So, again, finally, we're going to shut the show down. Things got a little bit heated, too heated for my taste. Before we say goodnight and all that, I'll give Beats, and for those who want to talk boxing with you, let them know the information of where they can find you.
Boxing Beats and Rhymes YouTube. Boxing Beats and Rhymes Twitter. You know what I mean? Yeah, basically, yeah.
Ben, let the folks know where they can find you if they want to talk boxing or anything else.
You can find me, Ben Omar, Boxing Terrace YouTube, Ben Omar, Twitter. And you can find me on most of Beats' hangouts. And if you need to find me, just ask Sean. Sean always knows where I'm at.
Yeah, give him a shot. Go at you and Sean go at it all the time. Sean, let the folks know where they can find you if they want to talk boxing or anything else.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube and I'm on Google, Sean Newton. So yeah, we'll chat.
Yeah, you on Facebook as well, since we just started following each other and whatnot. So if you want to find me, at Brother JR on Twitter. Find anything else about the Pound for Pound Box Report. At P4P Box Report on Twitter, P4PBoxReport.wordpress.com. That's the blog again. We're up for the finals of the Black Web Blog Awards for the category of Best Sports Blog. Vote, vote, vote. Voting started for the finals on the 21st. It ends on the 28th. So be a friend, be a pal, be a buddy. Vote for the blog for Best Sports Blog for the Black Web Blog Awards. Podcast page P4PBoxReport.podomatic.com.
Hold on, Mike. What is that? What is that? Because I'm gonna give you a vote. I didn't catch that. What is that website?
Okay, the Black Web Blog Awards is a kind of awards for bloggers of color. It's been going on for 10 years now. Started in, I want to say, 2004. I won the award last year for Best Sports Blog. I'm up again for Best Sports Blog this year. Just go to blackweblogawards.com. You'll have all the categories up. Just look up under me for Best Sports Blog and vote for me. And let me also say, give a shout out to a couple of friends who have their own blogs. Science is Good by Sharif Jackson, and for Best Science Blog, and also Spawn Point Blog, a really good gaming blog site for those gamers, for those who love the games. Spawn Point Blog, check them out as well. Vote for them as well. But yeah, the podcast page, p4pboxingreport.podomac.com, on the blog page and the podcast page, you can find information on all things Pound for Pound Boxing Report all over social media: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, WordPress, Podomatic, Stitcher. We're on Stitcher Radio now. Just go to StitcherRadio.com, search for Pound for Pound Boxing Report, POUND, the number 4, POUND Boxing Report. We got a Tumblr page as well. We got a Pinterest board, RSS feed if you want to subscribe to that. Also, if you want to donate your account, donateyouraccount.com/P4P Boxing Report. Be a friend, be a pal, be a buddy, go with your Twitter account. We're going to shut the show down at that point. Next week, we're going to do a part 2 of the preview for Pound for Pound Boxing Report, for Kovalev, Hopkins, and any other kind of boxing news or whatever that may be happening. I want to thank Sean for joining us from Taiwan. Thank Kent for joining us. Things got heated, and because of that, he left. I want to thank Boxing Beats and Ryan's joining us all the way over from the other side of the pond. Thank Ben Umar joining us all the way from NYC. This has been another episode of Pound for Pound Boxing Report. You guys have a good evening. Good night.
Night.